Hi guys, I'm Matt.
And I'm Bailey, and welcome to our channel. So in today's video, we are going to be starting off our channel by, telling the story of how we met and talking about, our relationship up until we got married. So if you're new here and you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. Basically, our channel is just going to be us documenting our life together, from projects that Matt likes to do outside to our, land, our property, our gardens that we do.
We
did. That wasn't too successful, but just kind of taking you guys along more of our life. If you don't know, I do have another channel that's all about my golden doodle breeding business, and it started originally as more of a lifestyle vlog style channel, and then as my dog business grew, that channel kind of shaped into what it is today, which is all about the dogs. And we really wanted to kind of start a separate channel that allows me to also show my other interests, more of our personal life, and kind of take you guys along that with us. So we thought, what better way to start this channel than a how we met / our dating, life video. So, do you have anything to say, babe?
Let's get down to it.
Hopefully it won't just be me talking. Matt's still clearly decently new at this, right, babe?
Is it that, or you like to talk?
Funny. Alright guys, so let's just get into how we met and the story of, us.
Alright, well, how we met, so it was back in, what'd you say, 18?
No.
That's what you said.
No.
That's what lives on your phone.
2016.
Okay.
We met for the first time in 2016.
We'll just restart that.
No. We'll keep all the bloopers in.
Okay.
Matt just doesn't know.
Alright, 2016 we started, I don't know if we met in person. I think I hit her up on social media, on Instagram, sliding in the DMs.
Down in the DMs.
Yeah, so we talked for a little bit. I was in college, a freshman. She was in high school, and
yeah, I was a senior in high school at that point, and the high school that he went to was in the county over from us. So we kind of knew of each other, I think, before then, but then started to talk.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. It was like a month.
When he went off to college, so.
We talked for like a month or so, and then kind of broke it off. And
he come to visit me a few times down here, but.
Yeah, during that time I did.
But in the end, I was still a high schooler. And he was a big ball and college football player, and I wasn't good enough at that point.
I don't know.
Oh, you're gonna agree?
How's that agreeing?
He shrugged like you agreed.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
And then fast forwarding to
2018.
Yep, 2018. There we go. I had a buddy that basically was like, "Hey, have you seen Bailey?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "I think she broke up with her boyfriend." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so at that point, I was like, well, "Let's just see." So I found her number on my phone. I still had it, and I was like, "We'll see if it's still the same number or not." So I literally texted her, "Hey, how are you doing?" And that's all I said.
Yeah, I don't even think he said doing. It's just, "Hey, how are you?"
I think so.
And at that point, it was March of 2018. I had just gotten out of a relationship. I had been out of that relationship for a little bit. We were kind of going back and forth, getting back together. I was kind of talking to someone else, but that really wasn't going anywhere at all. And when he first reached out and texted me, I kind of was like, ew. This guy ditched me in high school. Why would I talk to him again? I'm sure he's just a player like he was in high school, and I was not interested at all, I would say. But my best friend Dakota was going to college with Matt at that point, so we went to rival colleges that were in the same conference that always were big rivals for one another. And she was talking to me. I think I brought up to her that you had texted me, and she was like, "Oh," at that point he was talking to one of her friends prior to that. She's like, "Oh yeah, I know him, and he was talking to my one friend." And I was like, "Oh, so he is a player. He's been talking to all these girls and whatnot." But I don't know, it was a month or so later. We had talked a little bit when he first texted me, but it ended up not going anywhere. I did ghost him for
She was a player at that point because she was still hanging out with other people too, so.
I was just,
and going on dates.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Getting my food paid for by
we
boys.
We
weren't really, I don't think, looking for anything serious at that point.
At the time, no.
But then a couple months went by, and
it's my birthday, right?
It was a little bit before our birthday. Your birthday was our first date, but we talked a little bit before then.
Yeah.
So I was, I think maybe like late April, early May, because your birthday's late May. I ended up like going, I literally remember I was crossing a bridge in our town with my best friend Dakota on the way to Hickory, and she's like, have you talked to Matt in a long time? And I was like, no, I haven't really heard from him. And I scrolled through my phone and saw that he had actually texted me and I had never responded.
She ghosted me.
So I was like, oh, well, let me reach out and see what he's up to. So we slowly started texting and talking at that point, and I guess we kind of rekindled and started, talking. And
yeah, we hung out a couple times.
no, we hung out the first time on your birthday. Or did we hang out before then?
We hung out before.
We might have hung out before then, but we went on our official first date May 28th of 2018, which was actually Matt's birthday, and he didn't tell me it was his birthday until we literally were in the truck.
Yeah, I think we were heading
on the way to Hickory to go eat for his,
Chili's
for our date, and he was like, oh yeah, it's my birthday. And in my mind I was thinking, okay, this dude either really really likes me or he has no friends, because why would he be on a date with me on his birthday? So we started we started seriously dating or talking around, I would think after that was like pretty serious. Still kind of figuring out what we both wanted, bless you, and everything, but we ended up taking a trip in July up to see his buddies at East Tennessee, where he had went to college prior, and he asked me out, like, to be his girlfriend officially on that trip. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was. Went hiking, and then obviously everybody tries to do the cool scenic view or whatever. So went hiking and did it there just to go out the date. That's all it was. Nothing special.
Oh, it wasn't special?
Wasn't like I was popping a question.
Okay. I went and insert a picture of that here from that day. But so we ended up officially dating July 26, 2018, and then we were together like every single day that summer, and then we went back to college obviously in August, and Matt went to college where we were from. So he still lived at home at the time, and I went off to college about an hour and 45 minutes away. And we dated throughout my junior year of college. At that point, Matt was playing football at his college. I was doing track and field at my college. So we would go back and forth. I would go home and watch him at his games. He would come like after his games and visit me on the weekends. So we just did a lot of that back and forth. I wouldn't really call it long distance, but I guess longer distance. We definitely weren't living in the same area, and we both had obligations that kind of kept us away from one another. But we dated consistently. I think pretty off the bat, at least in my opinion, we knew this was kind of going to be like a forever kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd always told myself, like, the next person I date, I'll marry. And
Aww. So sweet.
You didn't know that.
Yeah, I knew that, but it's still sweet.
And I told her that, I think, pretty early on, that I'm not going to sit here and waste my time. Like, at this point, I was
24, I think. 23 or 24. 2018.
2018? Well, now it's 2023. I'm about to be 27.
God, you're old. Anywho, he just knew the next. I think we both were in the point of our lives where we were tired of non-serious relationships that didn't get anywhere.
Wasting our time.
Yeah, and wasting our time. So the next person we seriously dated, unless something like crazy was to happen, that we wanted that to be kind of the end game. As long as obviously we fell in love and all that. And did you fall in love?
You fell in love first, though.
No.
Should I bring up the first time you kissed me story?
Oh yeah, you get to love.
Where did we go? Was it that night?
I think it was the night at your birthday. I think it was.
I went to Chili's, ate dinner. In our wedding video, you obviously saw about the whole.
They might not have saw. Maybe I'll upload that to this channel.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But about the whole not having enough money.
They barely had enough money to pay for dinner.
For Chili's, and I was scraping the bottom of like my pockets for it. But that night we got back, and I go back into her house, and I don't know if we.
I was so nervous.
I
was just so nervous at that point. Like, I did not want to do anything with a boy. Like, at that point, like, I was so nervous. Like, because as a girl, a lot of guys have bad intentions, and not that I thought Matt necessarily had bad intentions, but I was so nervous that he was going to try something, and I was going to be like, like freaking out because I was so scared he was going to do that. But Matt was very respectful and obviously never did anything that made me uncomfortable. But at the end of the night, I was like telling him bye at the door, and he was like, all right, bye. And I was like, bye. And he leaned in and I pet kissed him and then slammed the door in his face.
I think you were actually out in the front lawn and she kissed me and then she took off.
Or took off
and
and
back inside.
Either way, I like pet kissed him and ran. I was like terrified to kiss him, but then, like I said, went to college, all that.
Yeah.
Did the long distance thing, seeing each other all the time, and then the summer we got back to summer. So we're back in summer 2019 at that point. And we got our first dog together. I had been begging Matt. I was like, let us get a puppy, like please, let's get a puppy, whatever. And we ended up getting our first puppy, Indy,
yep.
which most of you and probably a lot of you are from my channel, so you know exactly who Indy is. So we got Miss Indy together, and then like a month later, I think, my dad ended up passing away very, very suddenly, which was obviously really hard on me, but also really hard on our relationship. I mean, Matt did the best that he could at that time to support me and be there for me, but it definitely was hard on our relationship. It was hard for you to know how to grieve.
It's one of those things, as a person that is not going through it, being there for the other person and not knowing, like I didn't know how she grieved, and because we'd only been together for a year at that point, and I was like, I just don't know what to do, and like I would basically fill her out. Her sisters would help me out and stuff like that, and her mom. And then obviously Indy, I think, was the biggest blessing
that really
in the
helped.
moment at the time that helped Bailey a lot. But being that person that person can lean on and kind of have a shoulder to cry on, I think definitely, and giving space too, like that was the biggest thing too. If she didn't want to talk about it, then that's fine, don't talk about it, or vice versa. If he doesn't want to talk about it, then move on. And
you were very good support. I think it was just hard because I didn't know, I couldn't hardly even process my own emotions, let alone tell him what I needed. So he was emotional. I mean, he didn't know my dad super well at that point, because we kind of had an estranged relationship a little bit before he passed. But at the same time, he was upset that my dad died. He was upset that I was hurting. And so he was trying to navigate his own emotions and also take care of me at the same time while he also was hurting to an extent.
Yeah.
So that was a really big, like, I remember at one point, I think we were just like not getting along because I was so hurt and didn't know how to just go through everything in general. But we got through that and ended up in August getting another puppy, which was Jagger at that point. So at that point we had 2 puppies together. Things were starting to get a little bit better for me mentally with the passing of my dad, and we went into my senior year of college. We ended up having a couple more hard things happen, but I think once we had experienced that together and gotten through that, we'd gotten the 2 dogs, we kind of knew, like, okay, like we've been through something so hard with one another. I mean, some people in their marriage don't lose a parent until they've been married for 20 years, and we went through that within a year of being together. We hadn't even been together a year when that had happened. And I think that really showed us that, okay, we can do anything together and we want to be together, and this is like a forever kind of thing.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know about Matt, but I always knew that if I found the one at an early, are you yawning about our story? We knew, at least I knew at an early age, that if I found the one I wanted to get married young. I always knew that. I was 22 when we got married. I mean, he knew that he wanted to marry the next girl that he fell in love with, so we both kind of knew that that was where our relationship was going and headed. So September comes, and I'll let you take it over from there, of 2019.
Yeah. So I guess back forward. Go back like a month or 2. During everything, obviously we got closer. I felt like kind of made us stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like so it's like we definitely grew in that aspect. But we've been dating a year at that point.
A little over a year.
In July. So I was obviously starting to feel like I wanted to kind of pop the question, and I asked both her sisters. I said, well, God, what is she feeling? Like, how is she right now? And they were like, oh, she's not ready yet. Just wait. So Allie and Lainey, y'all definitely paused, put everything on pause for a little bit. But it wasn't, but it felt like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, Lainey and Allie both sit me down and they're like, she's ready. And I went, how did a week and a half change? And they're like, well, we talked to her and didn't bring anything up because obviously I didn't want her thinking anything about it. And I think they talked to you at some point, or they tried to at least feel you a little bit out. And they were like, she's ready. And I was like, okay. So I was working a little bit on part-time for a company at the time, and I was still in school. And
thinking about this just makes me think, like, we were so young. Like, we were in college,
yeah.
like, what?
But I had a buddy of mine, Riley, just got engaged, I think.
Yeah. They had just gotten married, actually.
Did they? In 19?
Yeah, in 19. They got married that summer.
Yeah, because they're 2 years.
Yeah.
So they just got married, and so I started asking him just because it was fresh on his mind. I asked him where he got everything at and stuff, and
the ring.
And he said Diamonds Direct. Well, the closest one was Charlotte. Well, he wasn't living in Charlotte. He was living in Raleigh, right?
And there was one in Raleigh.
There's like one in Raleigh. So I was trying to figure out how all this is going to go down, because if I just go take a trip down to Raleigh, she's like, "What are you doing?" So I kind of played it off. The first time was I was going to go hang out with Riley in Raleigh, and we were just going to go grab dinner or something and see a movie or something. I can't remember.
And at the same time, I'm literally texting my friend Lauren, because they're our best friends. So yeah. Lauren and Riley, so they're best friends, and me and Lauren are best friends, and we're best friends together or whatever. But I was texting Lauren like, why is he down there? Like, I want to get engaged so bad. Like, please, like, convince him. Like, tell him, like, I want to get married. Like, and little did I know that he was down there for, like, that exact reason.
But we had, everybody, when it starts off dating, and at the time, Life 360 was an app that everybody.
No, we didn't have Life 360. We just had Find Me My Friends.
No, we had Life 360.
I don't remember that.
So I turned it off, and then I was trying to figure out how I was going to play off everything. Well, what happened, the Diamonds Direct place was right next to like a movie theater or like a mall. So it was perfect to where I could turn off basically put my phone on airplane mode and act like I had no signal.
In the movie
or like in the mall or whatever. So like it worked out. So we were in there. Also, Diamonds Direct is awesome.
We love them.
They were going to have a deal leading up pretty soon, and I asked if there was any way that deal could be put on, and he ended up working a little bit and crunched some numbers and was able to get me a 0% interest on it, so that was nice, not having to pay interest. But we were there for, God, I feel like forever, looking at different rings, and I had an idea of what she wanted,
like,
but I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah,
like,
I was working.
He had no money.
I was in college playing football.
He was in college, had
job.
no money. He financed my ring basically, which I don't really recommend, but obviously we've been blessed since then.
I was saving up money and was putting money away, so I had enough money for a down payment, but I didn't buy it then. Yeah. They had to fix the ring up and everything, so came home that night, and everything was fine. Like nobody acted weird or anything. And then
September comes around, September 27th, and that's when he proposed.
Yeah, so I went down. The company I was working for was a t-shirt company, and
you did the longest story.
Who cares? So mean.
I'm not being mean, I'm just telling you, you don't have to tell every little detail.
Well, I like details.
Okay.
And so I told her, hey, I'd got a deal with NC State's intramural team, and I had to deliver shirts down there.
So I didn't think anything of his location.
So it was perfect because NC State was right off the exit, I think, pretty close to Diamonds Direct. So as soon as we got off the interstate, I put my phone on airplane mode and drove 5 minutes down the street to the Diamonds Direct, and basically went in there, purchased the ring, and then it was like 3 or 4 days later.
Is that when you did it?
Yeah. So those 3 or 4 days, let me tell you, guys, when you have that thing in your pocket or when you have a thing in your hand, it burns a hole. Like it's those 3 or 4 days was hard. But funny story real quick. That night I got home, I was at my house and you were at your house. I think you were at school actually.
I probably was at school.
We were doing something, and she brought up a ring, or I brought up a rings or something, and
oh yeah, I sent up a picture.
And I was like, I don't know, I I have no idea what you would want if I ever was looking, blah, blah, blah. She sent me a picture, and it was identical.
Yeah, basically.
I may be able to go back and find the ring that she sent me. But it
the
was
exact same thing.
identical
that he had
to
picked out.
what she picked out, or what I picked out on at Diamonds Direct. And so I was looking at it, the picture, and looking at it on my or like there in my hand, and I was like, well, this is pretty cool.
Were you nervous?
So at that point, I wasn't really nervous yet. And then me and her mom and her sisters were obviously talking and trying to plan what to do. And
my sister was at school up at that point, and family weekend was coming up. And I was thinking in my head, like, oh, this would be such a perfect time for her to propose because my family's all going to be there and whatnot. But I didn't really, I think I had an inkling, but Matt said I had no clue. But
she had no clue. I was doing stuff.
I didn't think he was going to do it, but in my head, I was like, if he did, that would be amazing. Like, it would be perfect if he did it now. But I didn't think he actually was. Like, that was just a dream I was making up in my head. So we went up there, we were going to take family photos, which actually was suggested by me because we hadn't taken family photos in a really long time, and I always like to have really good professional pictures of me and Matt at that time because I was like super into pictures and Instagram.
So I said, guys, this is the perfect time.
Yeah.
Like, we need everybody to be on page here.
And made a plan.
Yeah.
And then he proposed. So that's kind of the proposal. All of that was really fun. We got to enjoy the weekend at a cabin after the proposal, go to the football game at App, and just have a really good time with our friends and family. And then after that, went back to school and started planning the wedding. We knew we wanted to get married pretty soon. Like, I didn't want a super duper long engagement, so we went and from the get-go, we were like venue, dress, caterer, everything, like super quick, and we got married on August 1st of 2020. So it wasn't even a year-long engagement, but during all of that, I'm finishing my senior year. 2020 comes around, and obviously, as you guys know, COVID hits. I go home for college for what I think is just 2 weeks. It ends up...
That was in March, right?
Yes. Ends up school being canceled. I'm finishing out my senior year, my COVID year on Zoom, Skype, online. At that point, he came and we were staying at my mom's house because literally this is when the world was shut down. He had lost his job.
I'd already graduated
in 2019, December.
In 2019. And got a full-time sales position place, or at the same place that like I was working at part-time when I was in school. And obviously COVID shut everything down. Well, my job was with high schools.
Yeah, so he lost his job.
We shut down, basically had nothing, so I got a little part-time job here in Taylorsville. And she was doing online school at the time. She wasn't working. I was the only one working.
So we were planning a wedding.
So we're planning a wedding on top of that.
Not even knowing if we were going to be able to get married in August because at that time...
We'd already booked it, hadn't we?
But yeah, I mean, everything was booked at that point, and everything was so up in the air. So we were like, who knows if we're even going to be able to get married in August. I just look back now and I think, God, we were so young. Even though we're not even that old now. I mean, you're going to be 27. I'm going to be 25 in like a month. But 22 and 4? Just seems so young now, but I mean, we made it work. Matt was the only one working. He was working for basically minimum wage at that point, maybe a little bit more.
$11.50.
And we were very lucky with kind of how things worked out with this house, and my mom was amazing, paid for our wedding. So we were able to have our dream wedding, even though literally, I think when we got married, we probably had maybe $3,000 in the bank. If that. So, because I still wasn't working at that point. I didn't start working until after our honeymoon.
Yeah.
So we got married August 1st, 2020.
That's only my income.
Yeah, truly just young, dumb, and in love. But love gets you way further than anything in this world. And we went to our honeymoon in St. Martin and had a blast. And then we just kind of hit the ground running. Newlywed life. I got a full-time job. I switched jobs like 2 to 3 times that year. Matt got a full-time job. Working for a lumber company, and then from there we just started married life together, and you know, it's been great. Every single year has gotten better. We've learned so much. We've become more stable in our marriage, in our finances. We've just been very blessed ever since we got married in 2020. But that's kind of the story of how we met, and also kind of our relationship leading up to when we got married. We've been married for, it'll be 2.5 years on February 1st. So I feel like we've grown just so much. I look back at some of the pictures of our first year of marriage, I'm like, we were literal infants. Like, even
and I had short hair too.
Yeah, you had short hair. Even though we're still very young, we were just so naive at that point. But I wouldn't change a thing. Would you?
No, it's been like, yeah, there's been some hard times and there's been some good times. It's sometimes people like to.
Everyone says like, oh, you should wait till you're financially stable, or oh, you should wait until you're 30 to get married, or this and that.
You're never gonna be.
Life's too short to not do what you want, and if that means getting married young and figuring it out as you go, then that's what you'll do. And that's what we wanted. We knew that no matter what happened in life, as long as we had each other, that's all that mattered. And you could not change our mind on anything. I mean, some people thought we were too young to be getting married or not prepared enough, but all we knew was that we wanted to be married.
Yeah, and we were enjoying life.
Oh yeah, we still are.
Oh yeah.
We still are. But yeah, I mean, if you are in love, don't let what other people say hold you back, and just know that if you work hard, you can make anything happen. Some of the most successful couples I know are people who got married with nothing, and not that we had nothing. I mean, we were so very blessed with everything. I mean, we live in this house. I mean, that alone. We did have a lot of things from our parents and our own circumstances that really make this possible. I mean, I say like young and dumb and no money, and we were, but at the same point, we also had so much given to us that a lot of couples don't have, and we're very thankful for that. And we do recognize that our circumstance definitely was very, we were very lucky. So yeah, that's kind of that. Yeah, I think that's it basically up until this point. So we just wanted to kind of start this video by introducing us, telling our story. Comment down below any videos you want to see. I know the first couple videos are probably going to be more sit down videos, telling little stories about us. I do already have our engagement video and also our wedding video on my other channel, but if you guys want to see those and want me to upload them here, I guess I could do that as well. If not, I'll link those down below for you guys to see, and just comment down below any ideas for videos you want to see. Do you have anything, babe?
Anything outside, we'll add.
Anything outside? What do you mean?
Any outside stuff like you brought up in the very beginning of the video.
Matt likes working on things with his hands and being outside in grass. You want a whole video about mowing? He'll do a whole video about mowing.
That's right.
In the summer, that's all he ever does. No, for real though. We've got a lot of big things coming in 2023. A lot of life-altering things coming in 2023, and that's probably one of the main reasons we've started this channel. And that more on that is going to be coming pretty soon. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be documenting everything this year, and yeah, we're excited to take you guys along on this journey. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Appreciate y'all tagging along.
We love you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.